Hello everyone, nice to meet you right before the end of the year. My name is Rin and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Today I'll be showing you something that I've did for myself a few times. I'm not an excellent at it yet. I don't know many things yet, but I know enough. Enough to show you how to do it too. So, and what is this all about? Alright, let's jump into it. I hope you can understand me right and this is all working. My program tells me it does, so I hope it really truly does. Anyways, you know how all those planner enthusiasts go like, oh, make your own planner in Canva, right? But to be honest, I find Canva first and foremost confusing. All the designs that I want are behind a paywall. And I do understand that they're behind a paywall because someone else made them and they want to be compensated as well, which is kind of nice. If you make it there, you can also sell it through Canva, which is a really nice option to be honest. However, me being a cheapsake and not wanting to pay for it, especially if I make it myself, I decided to look elsewhere. And you know how there's InDesign by Photoshop? Well, there is a free version that you might use or want to use in this case, and I'm going to show you a little bit about it. As I said, I'm not an expert in it. I just tried it a little bit and found some really nice hacks. It might be chaotic because I might forget how to do it and it takes me a little bit. I hope you don't take it badly. And yeah, I hope you'll enjoy. As I said, this program is completely free. You can download it on Microsoft as well as on Linux. I am on Linux Mint and yeah, something is warning me here right now. I'm not really sure why it is warning me. Let's see what it says. As I said, it's going to be a little bit all over the place because I haven't streamed that much yet to begin with. I think it's my second live stream. And the first one without my friend to kinda tell me what to do. So please forgive me. Alright, I have no idea what the warning was about. So So, okay. My stream quality is low, so I'm not really sure how. Even though I have a good connection. Ah, and my friend is still working. Haha. So we'll see if um, it turns completely south in this case. I really hope you can later on see what I'm doing and the warning goes away. Wait, let me check if I can maybe change that. Um, that doesn't give me much. Yeah, that doesn't allow me to change anything. Alright, well, we will try and see what comes out of it, to be honest. Alright, let's continue on. And that is with Libre. LibreOffice. LibreOffice is the, how should I say, the free open source version of Microsoft Office. I'm not sure if there's an equivalent to Draw in terms of Microsoft, but I do think it is a alternative to the InDesign by Photoshop, or even the less expensive version that is out there right now from Affinity, which is major concurrence, major competitor for for Photoshop. All right, as you can see, there are multiple things that I have in here. This is the LibreOffice suite if you want, and you can choose which one you want to actually use. You can use a writer document, which would be Word, calc sheet, spreadsheet, that would be Excel, Impress presentation, that would be PowerPoint, drawing, math formula, and database. Database, Microsoft had that too, but I think they discontinued it. I'm not sure what I ever would use math formula for. But however, anyways, we're gonna go and choose the drawing. Because that is the program we're gonna use. As you can see, I did play around quite a bit, to be honest. So this is the space that opens up when you open Draw for the first time. You have a sheet of paper, you have the pages where you can scroll up and down if you have multiple, once you start to have multiple, but this is still quite a bit way ahead. And then you have your menu up here. You have the file itself where you can open a new text spreadsheet, whatever you want. Up here, you can open another document here, open a remote one, and so on and so on. You can save it remote, you can save copy, you can export it as a PDF, and you can send it as an email document or as a PDF via mail, print it, properties, and so on, and also exit it through here. Then you have your edit. Your edit allows you to do undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, all these kind of cool things, and the object, which has a no selection thing. We're not going to work with this at all, and I will name some shortcuts when I use them, so you can use them too, if you feel comfortable with it. Then you have insert. Insert can be an image, a chart, a table, a media file, a scan, an audio or video, an object. Then you have layers, which I haven't found out how to work with those yet. So a text box, the text box also here. Then you can comment, you can a floating frame. Then you have a font work, hyperlink, and so on. So you could totally make a digital planner in here too using hyperlinks, which I honestly find more tedious than what I'm going to show you, and that is already tedious, I'm telling you. If you do it one by one, that is. So, then you have your format, where you can format your text in bold, italic, so cursive, type of situation, underline, and so on, left, right, center, and so on. Styles, characters, paragraph, bullets, and numbering, as well as image, and again, a table that you can insert into this document, lines, areas, effects, and so on. So some of these things that I just named are also up here in this box. You have your paste, you have your cut, you have your copy, you have your styles that you can add, clone if you want to have whatever settings you have in one thing and you want to copy it onto something else. That is the clone version. Then you have it clear if you want to completely reset it. Whatever you modified, you can choose how thick your line is and what type of line it is, which will be important later on because we're going to use something from here which you don't have to pick, but you could. Alright, Then you have your color, your area. Your area can choose a color that it is filled. It can be not filled at all. It can be a gradient. It can be hatching. It can be a bitmap. It can be a pattern. We will come back to this, so remember this one. And you can choose the color that you want if you choose your area to have a color. You can also custom these colors here. If you have the hex, you can simply enter it here and then push OK and you have it. You can change the color of the line right next to the size of the line right here, and again you can custom color this one too. You have your text box, then you can enter some some forms like a rectangular and eclipse and some other arrows and stuff like that. Smiley if you want to. Like, honestly, you could push that and then there you go, you have your smiley. So I'm gonna use that smiley and show you some what I said earlier. I said you can change the lining with the color up here. So let's choose a green. There you go, your lines are green. This is the filling. This filling is currently this blue. You can also take it out. Then you have only the lines. You can put in a radian like this. You can change the radian too if you want to this pastel dream. Reminds me of Taylor Swift, to be honest. Then you have a hatching, which would be completely lines, which is weird. However, you can change that to maybe like this if you want to. We're gonna use this one later on too. I'll show you how. And then you have a bitmap, which looks kind of like this, like a old TV that didn't have a signal, and you have pattern, which will be like this. You can also choose a dotted grid here, which is really tiny. Anyways, as I said, you can change things here to however you'd like it to be. That's how you do it. Alright, let's delete this one. You can put in 3D forms, and as I said, you can also put in tables and other things, like so. This is more of a geometrical form than a table, but you could put in a table like so, which I found not really usable, to be honest, but you could use a table if you want to for a monthly overview in your planner. You could, I think that's how you do it in Canva with one of these. Could also change the way they look, but again, it's a little bit complicated. Also an image, if you wanted to, could put in like, just use this one as a background if you want to. This is way too much for a background, to be honest. So let's delete that one again. Anyway, so this is the home here and called the format here. So I'm not really sure why they have two different names. Also, you have your insert here where you can add photos, photo album, media, hyperlinks, and so on, and some font work, callouts if you work with multiple on this document. Layout. Layout is the first one that you're going to change. Depending on what size you want your planner to be, you should totally change the size of this one in here. That means you're going to a format page and then you decide what you want to have. If you want to have an A4, because why change the size? Because I want an A4 size, I'm simply punch holes in it and use a folder. Then, bam, finished. If you say, okay, A4 is really not what I want it a little bit smaller, you can go in A5 and print A5 paper, you know. Also, there are other sizes. They're really versatile with the sizes. You have A6 if you want to go even smaller, a B6, B5, B4, letter, legal, long bond, and so on. So, I'm not really sure what letter sizes are. Oh, this one. Okay. After you have chosen which format you want or size, you decide on the orientation. Usually you have portrait one. This is the horse, the vertical one. You have the long sides on the right and left and the short side up and down. You could also go with the landscape where the long sides are up and down, as a, you know, and left and right are the short sides. We're gonna go with portrait. As for the margins for the border, remember if you're printing this, your printer has a built-in margin where they don't print. They don't print the whole page. They have a margin where they cut off. Keep that in mind when you create these. Um, Also, depending on how you want to bind your planner, you might want to enlarge the border for that side. If you say, okay, I'm a lefty, I don't want to deal with maybe ring bound, just put them on the top and flip them over that way, so you're not dealing with it. And usually it's on the left side, so you would of course put the margin a little bit higher on the left side. Right, I will leave it for this like this for now. I will have to change the margin later on to make it more suitable for what we're going to do. Then you have a review page, which tab, which we're not gonna use, and have your view, which we're gonna use. We're gonna use the crap out of this one. Not as much, but at the beginning we're gonna use the crap out of this one. Then you have your extensions, which is empty for some reason, and you have your tools. You have toggle design mode and so on. Basic. You can run macros if you want to. Never used really macros. I think I learned it years ago, but I never understood them, so not working with them. So page again lets you insert new page, duplicate a page, background image, and surround properties. The shape are what I showed you up here with the insert home version. There are shapes. You also have the shapes and lines on the left side here, where you can also change color. The first color is the line, the second color is the filling or the area, if we stick with the same name up here. If you click it, you can also choose to make it more transparent, which I will be using later on. So I'm gonna leave that for now. Then you have again tools, window, if you want to close your window and so on. If you have multiple opens, you could switch them here. And if you need help, you have your help section over here. Alright, after a little bit of guidance, which is never wrong, we're gonna start. Usually, when I first filmed it and I wanted to upload it, I was all over the place. But that gave me the insight on how I should organize my thoughts and how to start. First and foremost, a planner usually consists of pages that repeat itself in their layout, in the design, and so on. If you don't have pages that change on every single page, literally every single thing, your best friend, my ladies and gentlemen, is with a view and master. Yes, master foils or master pages, depending on how you want to name it. They are your best friend. You want to know why? Because everything you put into this master, nothing, absolutely nothing moves. Nothing moves. Unless you go back into the master view, which we are in right now. You see up here is you can add masters, you can delete masters, and you can rename them. And also have the same buttons up here. This master view acts like a background on your normal pages, where you'll be setting up maybe timelines or the dates, the naming of pages, because they do change. and other things. And if you have a planner and you want to doodle and you have cute drawings that you found online that you want to put in, as long as you don't make money with it, it's fine to take things that you like off the internet. The moment you make money with it, be careful because of copyright. Just putting it out there to be careful if you want to make money with it. Therefore, if you want to put in images and you have maybe an image that changes every few weeks or something like that, or you have a self, you drew something yourself and you want it as a, let's say, as a welcomes page for your month in that planner, because maybe you're doing it for your friends and family as a present, and maybe you do a glue binding or something like that so that it lays flat. If you do a glue binding and it lays flat, you might not need as big of a margin on the sides as I have here currently. And you know what? For all the bullet journaling favorites or fans out there, I even found a way to number the pages. Yes, I found a really easy, lazy way to number pages. Yes, I was so happy when I found out how to do that. You can't, you can't imagine how proud I was. As I said, I have never played with this before that, with this program beforehand. So my knowledge was more of a trial and error situation going on. Therefore, I have the best way to insert page numbers to the point that you don't have to rewrite them if you do decide to take out one page. Just imagine you're finished and they're like, I don't want this page, and you have a 640-page planner ready for printing, and you take one out, and then you have to rewrite all the page numbers because it's right in the middle, or even, God forbid, it is at the beginning. Yep, have fun rewriting 640 pages. Just bonkers. Anyways, I found a way how to do that, so you do not have to rewrite all the page numbers. Also, it is continued throughout, and it does work with these master foils that I'm going to show you out of master pages, because that's where you put it in. As I said, for the master pages, you want everything on these pages that does not change or you do not wish that it moves. All of that is on this. And now you're going like, then, but what if I don't want white pages? Yes, that is it. We do not want white pages. Currently, I'm totally into the Tomorrow River paper community with the 4mm grid pages, not the 5mm. That is standard in Germany. No, the 4mm. So we're gonna make a 4mm grid. However, that is tedious, as I said. I'm gonna show you the not tedious way first. However, that is... Does it work with a 04? Yes, it does work. It does work with 4mm grid. However, I also like the dotted line that comes with these Tomorrow River notebooks that I have, because it is not as intense of a grid. I love that it is not this really eye-catching or disturbing grid going on with these notebooks. So, for the really easy way, let's go with the really, really easy way. For the really, really easy way, we're gonna take the rectangular shape. We have a area, the border, we're gonna leave the border as it is for now. We might gonna change that once we see our grid, because I don't like half grid spaces with this border type of situation. Therefore, we're gonna first add our rectangle. So for the beginning, we're gonna take out the color. Why? I'll show you. Let's move in really, really, really tight. And you can see I didn't place the rectangular right. So let's put it right where we can see our printing area, where the border starts. Because that gray line that is shown here, where the border is, will not show up once you print. Therefore, we're gonna put it right on top of it. And you can see it better the more you zoom in if you're right on top of it. Alright, now let's move back out. There you go. Now we have a border. But we don't want a blue border over our whole paper, right? So let's change it. I've come to like really grayish lines and background grids. Therefore, we're gonna choose a light gray, like light gray green, 3. Let's choose that one. There you have it. Looks the same as the border before, but this border will be printed. Therefore, if you change the line, you can change it to a dotted line. If you zoom in, you can hardly barely see it, so let me change the color so you can see it better. There you see it. You have the dotted line. This is the line we're going to use later on. You can change the thickness, as I said. However, if you go simply by the plus, look how thick that sound looks. That looks like someone was there with a sewing machine and shut or borderline this paper. So if you do choose that, I found that 0.01 works really well. It is a slightly thicker line, but it is not too thick that it is disturbing. If you want to kind of like highlight a border or something, like when you write your weekdays or something like that, that's where I would use it. Anyways, for the complete border, I do like and prefer a normal line with no dots or anything. I'm turning it back to the light gray number 3. Alright, now you have your rectangle. Remember I said something about the area earlier? Yeah, let's do that one. So you do a right click. Make sure you're kind of near the top or one of these green rectangular shapes. Right click, and then you go to area. This gives you this. We do not have a filling or the area filled. Remember, we can add a color if we wanted to. However, we want a pattern and we want a dot grid. I mean, it already shows a dot, a normal grid. Like this one. Let's choose a normal grid and take out these black dots, which will give us, I have no idea why it looks so weird. Was it a hatch? No, we have to go to hatch. Ignore the pattern, go to the hatch. The hatch is what we want. You can pick a grid. 10 millimeters is a little bit tight. I said we wanted to have 4 millimeters. That's that. Alright. Also, cross is the grid, the single line if you want to have a line journal or a line page. And then you have the wherever that pattern was created. I have no idea. Again, we want a grid. The grid, as I said, black is really dominant on a white page. We're gonna go and choose the light gray 3 again. And then you simply press OK. And voila, you have a gridded page. And it didn't take long. And as I said earlier, I do not like these half ones up here. So I'm simply gonna go and drag this one down to the line of where the last fully full grid is. By the way, I'm zooming in and out by pushing strong and then simply using the roller thing on my mouse to zoom in and out, just so you know. I did say that I would tell you my shortcuts. So if you want, you can leave it like at the bottom of the corner, but I kind of don't want it there, because then it looks like it's falling off the page. I do not wish to have that. So we're gonna move it up and out. This way, it will also give us a little bit more space on the left side for our binding. Also, as you can see, now that I've moved in, the outer line is not completely on the line of the last grid. We're going to change that right away because that will drive me bonkers if I don't. So let's put it right there. And again, move it a little bit closer to the line for the edge. And yes. So now we have a really nice grid page. Only this one is printed. As you can see on the preview here, that is what it will look like printed. And as you can see, there is no double line here on this side, while on this one it is. That's what I said or meant with this line out here is not being printed. All right. You could, if you wanted to, add another square right here, like by dragging this one a little bit further out and kind of overstepping the printing line or the border line, and then you can go back to the layout and simply format this here and maybe take 10 millimeters off of the left side. All right. And now it seems, yeah, here. You can see this is the printing line and this is what will be printed from what we've created just now. As I said, this is a really easy way how you could make a gridded page for a planner. This is only 0.4 millimeters. If you're alright with this type of grid, then by all means use it. It's really easy to make. It doesn't take much time. Whatever. It's completely fine. If you aren't like me and insist on the dotted line. Alright. So for the page numbers, that is so awesome. You go to Insert, and then you go to Fields, and then you take the slide count. It has to be the count, not the number. The number will give you the total number of pages you've got, but not which page you're on. It will give you the title of the page. However, that would change depending on which month you're in, and you're not gonna do that. It's easier to simply do that on the normal pages, not in the master. Otherwise, you will have too many masters to pick from, and you could make mistakes there. So let's use the count. As you can see, for whatever reason, the standard is 18 PT, which is ginormous, if you ask me. So let's mark this up and then go down to a 6. I like the page numbers actually be smaller than that, so I usually go for a 5.9 or 4.9 PT pixel. So now we can make this one smaller in motion. As you can see, there's a 1 here when I touch this. and drag this. You can see that here, the number 1. Yeah, there you can see actually what it would look like. So, and then you put your page number where you want it. Usually when you get it, it's like here, but I'm pretty sure this is out of the printing area, so I wouldn't put it there. Put it right here. All right? That will give me the page number on the second grid box from the other edge from the right, because the number will show up here. If you want it kind of like not there, but somewhere else, like in the last row, like this, you can do that. It's pretty easy. If you have trouble with making these smaller, just right click, then go to position and size. We're going to use this one, the grab out of it, and turn off the adapt one. Press OK, and then you can change the size to however you like, with no problems at all, if that were an issue for you. But this is not being printed, it's only printing the number for the page. Alright, now you have your page number on this. So what you could do now is decide what other pages you might want and you want to, have a master of because you do not wish to have it moved, because it does not change or anything like that, and you want the normal pages to be as easy to work with as possible. Because if you were to put something on top here and you try to move it and by accident move the background like so, you have that problem. That's why I said everything that can be in the background, which does not change, move, or anything, put it into your master foil or page like this. I will show you how this will look like if I go back. As you can see, I cannot move it at all. I can't even click it or mark it if I wanted to. As you can see, there's a page number right down here. It's not too high. It is black. If you want, you can keep it that way. However, let's go to our view, Let's go back to our master. Because if you change the color of the writing for the count, this one, to the color whichever you want, let's choose the light gray 2. It's a little bit darker, but not too dark. You change the color of the number 2. So there's that. You could simply use this one now and make your first page. Let's say your first page is an index. Alright, then how do we write on this? Easy. You either make a box, you like rectangular, circular one, and write into that, or you make a text box. It's pretty easy, straightforward, not much to do with that. So, and this is your index. Again, you can change however you want it to look like. Let's say we want it this big, but I don't want to find the middle of this, so let's go like the other side and then simply put it into the middle in the middle. Let's go like maybe like this. So what you also could do in this case, if you want to have a background in it, you go to home, go to area, color, and then you pick whatever color you want. Maybe you want a orange. There you go. You have an orange. However, that becomes very aggressive over time and doesn't really mix well. So even though I'm not a fan of neutrals, in this case, I totally go with the neutrals. You can always draw above them if you do want anything at all. As you can see, if you go click off of it, This doesn't look so good. So let's go up and move it over a little bit. Again, this is not ideal. That's not how I want it. And it's a little bit too high. However, if you're not really sure about the positioning and you do not wish to fiddle with it like this, there's a really easy fix for that too. So you go onto, you mark it up like this with the green dots or squares. Go back to position and size. Your position, you want it right at the edge of the first line. That edge is 0. You want it at 0.00 centimeters. Your Y positioning, that is the vertical one. X is horizontal, vertical is Y. You also want that to be on the 0.00, right? Let's make that possible. Et voila! Now you have it exactly where you want it, or where I want it. However, here on this side, it looks a little bit short. Anyways, let's see what size that layer beneath it, which will be more like, what size is this? This is 12.4. So again, mark it up, right click, position and size, and you can see this is only 12.38 centimeters, but we need 12.4 centimeters in length. There you go. Also, the height kind of cuts it off down here. I want the height to be exactly 2 squares. 1 square we did with 4 millimeters. Therefore, 2 squares would be 8 millimeters. Again, positioning and size. And then you have your height. Your height is fixed by the text. Tick off that fixation for the height. And then change the height to 8 millimeters. There you go. Now you have it really fitted into everything. However, it still looks kind of weird because it doesn't have an outer line. Again, mark it up, go to insert, to home. Now you can see you haven't chosen to line that box. Therefore, pick a line and then pick a color because currently you can see it's black. So I don't want it to stand out, so I'm going to use a light gray again. So now we have a really nice box. What we could do is put another line down here and have it lined if we wanted to. Like, just pick a line here. And then make a line. That's not where we want it, right? Alright, right click, position and size. I love that trick. So the position on the X is not -2, actually. It's 0.00. And the position Y would be 8, if I'm correct. And if that is the case, then I've told you earlier a little bit wrong. But anyways, it seems that this is Y and this is X. Not really sure why though. Anyways, mark it up because this is kind of wonky. Right click, position and size. And you can see that the height is off. It needs to be 0. It's a line. It doesn't have a height. And also the width is off. It's not the 12.4. There you go. A perfect straight line. And you didn't have to fiddle around with it at all. All you need to know is the measurements and what is what. We've learned that this is Y and this is X. So remember that for later. Alright, and let's just say we don't want it to be that line, so let's go with a little bit darker. Normal gray. We have a normal gray line now, and we want a little bit thicker, so Oh my god, this is way too thick. So let's go and maybe make it 0.05. Let's see what that looks like. It's a little bit thicker, not as thick as the previous one. And then let's choose the 0.02. I like that one. I really like the 0.02. It is a nice thick line, but not too thick that you would be inconvenienced if you change the page for whatever reason. There you go. A nice index page that even has a page number. Fabulous, right? Alright, let's go back to the master one. Because we're not finished with that, but let me save that first. Save as. As you can see, I did a little bit more here, so like let's call this one YouTube. Save. Now I've saved it. Alright, now we have this one. That was easy, right? That doesn't take much time or anything. So we're really good. It was quick. So, as I said earlier, there's a more tedious way of doing things. Let's add another page. Also, I want this countdown here, so like copy, strong C, go to the second page. Sadly, it doesn't really jump over if you simply scroll. Click on the second page, on the white page, and then strong V for inserting it into your document here. So, what did I mean with there's a more tedious way of doing things? However, we will start again with the box. Do I really want to make the box again? Nah. Go back to your first page. Mark off the fronting at the square that we did earlier. Copy it, strong C, and then strong V, and we have it in. Because we don't have to redo the border, we only need to take out the area inside, the hatching, turn it to none. There you go. You have two things already that you do not have to do again. It's the counter and the border, should you ever later on decide to change that. Alright, now to the tedious part. Let's say you're like me and you want to recreate the dotted grid line from the Hobonichi Cousin, or the Sterling Ink, or the Angel Shard, or the Paper Task grid. They're all the same to me, honestly. I'm not really sure if there's much of a difference besides the spacing itself. I think Sterling Ink is 0.38 and the rest usually have a 0.4. So I'm not really sure if that's truly the case. I would have to look it up, so correct me if I'm wrong with that. However, you probably know what I mean with the dotted line. Alright, for that, there's sadly, even though we could do it the way we did earlier, however, it will not look good. I'll show you what I mean. Again, mark the box, otherwise you won't get into that menu. The area. Pattern. We had it earlier with the pattern, right? You get something like this. It's black and it looks dotted, right? I'll show you what this pattern looks like. It looks like this. So if you think you could make a dot grid with this, no, not really. Alright, maybe a different one, this one. Even smaller together. Alright, then how about we go back to the first one. Take out one dot. It's a really, really tiny dot grid that you will be having then. This is not even 1 millimeters, or maybe let it be a little bit of 2 millimeters. It's really tiny. You're not writing that small. Absolutely not. Right, you're writing that small. Again, go back to areas. Anyways, you can try this one. that has a dotted line, right? Again, it is really small. So this is basically the line that you will be having. So if you say like, okay, maybe we have to put this one, maybe like so. Maybe that would help. Ah, that looks weird. You can see I already played around with this quite a bit. It does not look good. Therefore, this pattern version, it really doesn't work. You can modify it, but I haven't found a good way to use pattern yet in terms of making a dot grid. Therefore, I'm usually sticking to this one. So, and here you can't really change the lines. This is the dot grid that I did before. It is a 0.45 centimeters, so almost 5 millimeters. But it doesn't really work with the pattern one. And if you have an image of a dot grid, you could use that if you do have something like that, but I'm not really sure. I haven't tried that one yet. So no pattern, no image, no gradient, no nothing for this one. So what's also important to know is the size. Let's go with the size. And again, since it moved a little bit, and this one is not how I wanted it to be. So for now, let's make sure we remember the width is 12.4 and the height is 18.8 centimeters. You might want to write that down if you want to. I don't want to. So anyways, and we are going to use the positioning a lot because it is easier if you want to, especially at the beginning, to make sure everything is straight. All right, let's start with our first line. You don't have to make it that a big thing, you know. So make a line. It doesn't matter where, just make one. Right click into it. Position and size. Positioning you want it at 0, 0, 0. No, this is the first line. You don't want it at 0, 0 in the X. You want it at 0.4 millimeters at X, but 0 at Y. The width is 0, 0, 0, and the height, as you remember, was 18.8 centimeters. Enter. Push OK. Now you have it starting at your top like this, and you have it ending where it should be. Alright? And you have the first start of your first row with a 4 millimeter grid. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright? Good. So, and I did say that we are going to do a dotted line. For that, we're going to pick the second one. It gives us this line. Alright? You can choose a different one if you want, like this one, or even this one if you want to. I'm going to go with a short, tight dotted line like this. And again, I don't really want blue. You could totally do blue if you want to go a completely different route. But I will go back to the light gray 3. It gives me the best look out of all. So what you're going to do with this one right now is, because everything is already the way you want it, you're gonna go strong and then C for copy, strong V for pasting, and then if you want to, you don't need to see the downward. So you could easily just make sure you have your things lined here. And every 4 millimeters, you're simply putting this like so. After a while, you will actually you can actually see if you're off 1 or 2 millimeters after a while. However, you do not have to do every single line like this. What I did was I did a few lines like strong copy the last line that was on right now, and then strong V, and then push it 4 times and have 4 millimeters again. What that does is that it takes the last line that you put into place and copies it. If you simply go with strong V without the copying, you would start at the previous copied one, and then you will have to push it out like this. So we have 3, 4, 160. That's why I'm using the last one all the time and continuing on, because you don't want to go all the way from here to the end of the page and that making the rows. You just want to go from the last one you stopped and then move on. So we have 4 rows now. Let's go with copy, paste, strong C, strong V, and go to 2. That gives us 2 millimeters of this. So now let's zoom out a little bit that we have all of them on one view, like so. Now you take your mouse and drag it above all lines, like so. That gives you a marking of all 5 lines that we just did. Again, you go strong C, copy, strong V, paste, and then you move to the side. If you're not sure how far, just move to the side until you can see you have a big slot in between. Do not click onto the page, because if you do, your markings are gone. And we have 2 centimeters before 4 millimeters, so 2.4. Again, copy, paste, and then you move simply to the side. Do not click anything. 4 centimeters was your last one, so now it's 440. As long as you're really on this sliding bar, whatever is marked will not become undone. Only if you click onto the page, it will be coming undone. Again, copy, paste, and then simply move it to the side to 640. There you go. You can see on this double lining when you're where you need to be. Oops. Let me show it a little bit further by simply dragging everything and making it a little bit bigger, like so. You see, this is telling you where you are at the beginning. Again, I will drag this a little bit to the side, copy, paste, strong C, strong V. Not sure what it's called in Mac, I'm not really using Mac. And that double line actually moves with you, so you can see we have done this a little bit. This is off, this is too small. This is right. This is one too far. You know what? You can see what I mean, but you can see it after a while? Good. Again, strong V. So, and now we have 1240. Exactly 40 millimeters for 4 millimeters, 0.4 centimeters for the last row. So it worked perfectly to the letter that we have a last completed row, which is nice because we did do a 0.4 earlier, so this whole grid should work out just fine without us having to do anything. Alright, now we have the rows, now we need the lines. And again, we're gonna simply do the same that we did just now. We're gonna pick a line, draw a line. When it's marked, click into positioning and size and check what is going on here. So again, now we want to move downwards, that is X. So the first one will be at 0.4, right? If I'm right, maybe I'm not, maybe I don't know. I'll see. And this should be 0, 0. This is a little bit too long, it should be 12.0. And this is 0, 0. Okay. A little bit off. Okay. Positions. So that one is 40. Let's go. No. Why is this X and up? X and Y is so strange. Anyways, this needs to be 0 and this needs to be 40. Now we know. There you have it. Now we have it where we want it. Again, change the color. This remembers the color that you had before. And change the line to what you had before. So, did we have a 0, 0, 0, 0 with this one? Yeah, we did have a 0, 0, 0 with this one. Alright, so now we have this one line, and we're going to go downwards. Again, we're going to go with strong C, strong V, and simply move downwards. Again, you can use the ruler at the side to figure out how far you have to go. The closer you move in, the easier it is to see. So, because the size is already correct and everything is leveled, or we did the leveling, with the menu version of it and didn't fill it with the mouse or anything, you can be assured that it is even. So you can always go with the copy paste and it will stay absolutely the same. As you can see, this looks off. This is longer than this one. That is because this is 5 millimeters in the horizontal and not 4. Now it is 4. Again, copy paste. Push the wrong arrow. 120, copy paste. 160, copy paste, 2 centimeters. Okay, we're gonna go down to 2.5. Copy paste, so one more, it's 2.4, like so. Again, zoom out. So you can see it takes on a really nice version of a grid, and it is less obvious than the previous one, even though we are kind of using the same color. That's because the white spaces are in between. Again, use your mouse, drag it above, and make sure all the lines are marked. Do not mark or do not drag your mouse over the whole page because you will mark everything. The outline, the vertical lines as well as the horizontal ones, but we do not want the vertical, we only want the horizontal ones. So make sure you go smaller than the rest, then you will have what you want. Again, copy, paste, and download. Because it was so nice to do. Again, move back in. You can see it is still off with 1. And now we have it. Copy, paste. Again, go down. Now we have a big one. So we are at 840 here. So we need to be at 520 there. Alright? Copy, paste. Again, move downwards. As I said, if you don't remember where your last line was, just move downwards until it becomes a really big space and then you will see where you stop. We stopped at 720. So we need to be at 760, like this. Copy, paste, move downwards. I'm really sorry if my audio sounds weird. I have no idea what that is. I think I might need a new headphones and so on. Copy, paste, again, move downwards. Almost done. So if you're not fit in math, you could totally use this to learn or remember the multiplication ones, like the fours, like 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on. It's basically the same thing. So we are at 16, 8, so we're at 17, 20. There you go. As you can see, there are a few lines that are kinda like too much, which is completely fine. Just mark the last 2 lines, delete it, and then there you go. You could, if you were to decide that you're doing the border lower, go down to 19, 20 for one more row. I will leave it for now because I don't need it. I did that for the other project that I'm working on for myself because I wanted to have more space in the middle and less space on the border. I have a big border on this side. However, I have really small borders on that side here. Besides the top, I think. The top is kind of like, I do everything on the writing here and headers go up here or something like that. Haven't really decided on yet and I haven't really used it yet. So, we have that. So what you can do for now, which we'll gonna use later on too, is lock everything together so you don't move anything individually. So that if something is moved, it is the whole thing that moves. Therefore, we're gonna mark up the whole page. Gives us this. Go really close to one of the blue squares, right click, and then group. Group everything together, it turns green. What that does is that it does this. It moves everything. Strong C removes or puts everything back to where it was before. It's the undo button, so to speak. Could also go over this one up here. Make sure you save it in between LibreOffice that, as far as I know, does not automatically save. I could also go with position and sizing up here. Just all that. Like, there you go, if you wanted to. Alright, so we have our masters that we wanted to do, and as you can see, this is way lighter than this one. If you wanted, you could kind of like go back and where did I see that? Okay, right click and then area. You could, if this is really too dark, if you do a test printing and this is really too dark, just go one lighter, like a light gray 4. And it gives you a similar lightness as the dotted line. So you can see it's not quite the same, but it does look very similar and should not intrude when you do your writing onto this paper. You can also choose your own paper for that. You could buy blank Tomoe River paper if your printer does really thin paper. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you're like, hey, I want to do my own book in like a binding or something, you could print this or make this square onto a A4 and do it on a double-sided, then mark your middle and saw them together. I'm not really sure how to print that with the page numbers that they work out. I think you have to do some sort of a book print and an automatic double printing situation that I do not have because I have to literally hand put back in the page to do a double printing. So if I do decide to print what I've got, I'll probably go to a printing shop and have them do it for me because they can easily print two sides. Okay. Alright, so we have this page now. And as I said, a planner consists of more than a grid space. A grid space is nice for note taking, and if that's all you need to make your own bullet journal book, by all means, you're finished. Congratulations. You're finished. However, if you're like, I want some things to be printed already onto it that I don't have to draw it, like the calendar view, or the timeline, or whatever your heart desires. Again, the master view is your best friend. It's not diamonds. No, no, of course not. It's not diamonds. It's the master view in this software, in this program. Alright, so we do want a grid page. Therefore, we cannot put this onto here. We literally need this as a master. Therefore, we're going to copy the page. You know? We kind of like put in a new master for this. And you remember, you grouped everything together. You only need to mark it, copy, and paste it. Voila, you're done. Alright, so whatever you want to do, you can now build this on top of this. Yes, you might have the trouble that it moves around. Simply remember there's a strong C combination to undo everything that you just might have ruined. And also remember, this is all grouped together, so it moves in all pieces in one piece, and not just one tiny piece that is hard to undo sometimes, especially if you don't notice it right away. Alright, so for the calendar view, how you do it. Alright, it depends on what type of calendar you want. If you want a traditional calendar view, like with the boxes, you have an A4, or in this case A5 page. How big do you want your squares to be where you can write things into it? Keep that into account. Also imagine having two pages next to each other. That would be your format that you're seeing it later on anyways. So you could put 7 days onto this one. Totally manageable. However, the rows would be really, really small for writing on. If that's all you need, go for it. Make sure you have 6 columns, 7 columns, so that's right. You have 7 columns this way, and you have 6 rows this way. Why 6? Because 2 weeks within the year, we have 6 weeks. Not just 5, but 6. So to make sure you have even spacings, just calculate with 6 rows for each week onto this paper right away. How are we going to do it? How are we going to do that? We are going to do that with knowing how many empty spaces we have this way and how many we have this way. That's the easiest way. You know, you could simply divide. Let's open the calculator because I'm really too lazy to count right now. There you have a calculator. Alright, we have 1240, right? 12.4 in the width, and we have 40 millimeters. That gives us 31 squares in the width. We have a length of 18.8. Again, we have a grid of 0.4 centimeters. Gives us 47 squares. If you think this is really terrible with calculating the measurements, simply add a row or take a row away. I'll leave it as it is. So for now, I want to have big squares. I want big squares for my monthly overview. That means I want to have it on 2 pages. That also means I have to make 2 pages for a monthly overview. How do I do that? For now, I'm gonna calculate the width and divide it by 4. That means 31 divided by 4 gives us 7.75. This is a really terrible number to do it. So basically means you have 7 squares, and this one will be thicker. So for that, we can simply do a line in the 7th square. Like, I want to be able to write notes on this area here. Therefore, I will go 7 backwards in this direction to have a full view of how many are left on this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think these are 7 or so. This doesn't have to be long yet. We're gonna do that later on, and we're gonna position it right later on. So, if you wanted to, you could simply 0.4 times 7, and it's 2.8. We have 1240. I don't know. It's easier to count. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. So like we are too far. Like so. Let's correct this one first. Positioning and size. We need it at, it's not far enough something, but I think it is 9.7 that we need it at. And we need this to be 0. The width is 0. And the length, remember it's 18.8. Right? I'm off. Why am I off? Ah, okay, I'm off. See, again, positioning and size. It's not 7, it's 6. 9.6. And now you have it until the end of the page. Not sure if we're gonna need it until there, but for now we're gonna do that. Oops. Copy, paste that, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Copy, paste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like so. So we have 3 days on this and 4 on the other, which will give us a margin on these sides left and right for other things. However, we could also do 8, but remember, it might not work out on the other page, and I want it even on all, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with 7. We can always change the spacing later on, and I do not wish to have it somewhat in between the grid. It looks terrible in between grid, so I'm not doing that. So we have this one for notes. Now we need 6 rows. We have 47. Again, I'll pull back my calculator. 47 divided by 6. However, we do need to write on top Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That gives us 1 row less. That makes it 46 rows. And 46 divided by 6 is a really terrible uneven number. Alright. Anyways, so again, we're going to go with 7. So the square is 7 by 7. Again, draw a line. This time only the length that you might need. So, positioning and size. So, we have 4 centimeters on this one that we wanted. The positioning is 120. The width would be, what, 840? And the height is 0. There you go. It's just not where the first line should be, actually. I see, but we can simply move that up. Now again, we're going to go copy, paste, and simply move downwards 7. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you want to learn German, we're going to count in German, and it goes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright guys, you can now count until 7. Again, copy paste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, copy paste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that makes it 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Alright. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows here. We can write in the days up here. And we have some space left down here. And that would be at 70, 20. So mark this first row again. Go back to position and size. And simply turn this one into a 17, 20. And it will shorten itself. No fiddling around with the mouse. We're not doing that. It makes everything uneven, and it's gonna drive you bonkers after a while. So, alright, now we have this going on. Let's move in for the top and put in our text. So you can see alright, like so. 7. This can be really dark gray. And we want Monday. Oops. So you can again do it through the positioning, right click and positioning and size. And the positioning would be 4 centimeters, I think. This would be a 0. And the width would be, what? This is 4 till 680 would be 280. Again, we take this out and we want it to be this height. Now it fits perfectly into the square we had. Why did I do that? Easy. Because I want to have a background on this one. Go to Home, go to Background or Area, Color, and then pick a color. I usually use a really, really light gray. And also, sometimes I do a border. Let's see what it looks like without a border. If it looks weird, I put a border around it in the same color as the blue one. I'll make it a different color later on. Anyways, this light gray on gray is a little bit much. So let's make it a little bit darker. So you can see this looks really weird because you can't really see the blue line on this side, but you can see it on that side. So that's why I usually put a border around it. Not this much of a border, but the 0.00 border with a drawn line is usually completely fine. Also, you can kind of change the color to the same color, like so, or you choose to go with a slightly darker color, like maybe like this. You know, you can totally do that however you like. So, could change these colors. It's a really light color here, so let's go with a darker one, like so. Which do I have now? So, make sure this is the same color as the rest of the line, because it looks weird otherwise. Alright. You could also kind of like go mark it all up. Go to home, push this button, and you have all the lines, and you don't have to do it one by one. As for the weekdays itself, you mark this one, copy, paste it, and then simply move it to the side. We're not fiddling around. We're not making things X multiple times if we have copy paste. Just remember, you have to rewrite these days, because I still have to rewrite it later on. I'm gonna leave it like this for now. So we have the first half of our monthly overview with a big border around this page on this side and a slight small border around here, down here. And the lines, as you can see, aren't as invasive as you might think. If you do a test printing and you still find it too invasive for you to later change up, simply make them lighter. There's absolutely no problem with that. Alright, then we make a new master. Mark all of it, copy, paste. There you go. Check if everything is still where you want it. Right click, position and size. Sometimes it's kind of like wonky, but it's still at 0, 0, 0, 0. Alright, so now we have this. And however, if you're imagining a page, it would mean that you have the first half on the left side and the second half of the week would be on your right side, right? So continuing on with this grid, starting from this side, makes absolutely no sense. Therefore, we're gonna mark the whole grid. Again, we could simply move it to the side via the arrow keys. However, I could also go to positioning and size. Simply take out the here, and it moves automatically to this side. Alright? So we didn't lock this one. So as you can see now, we have the trouble kind of like sometimes clicking the background. That's what I meant earlier with, the master is your best friend. Because if you click something here, you can still change it. If something is wonky and you find it later on, simply go back to your master, change what needs to be changed when it is on your master page, and it will change everywhere. So you don't have to go, let's say you have 14 of these monthlies overviews, and on all 14 is something wonky. You don't want to change it 14 times. You want to change it maybe once or twice, depending on if you have it on both sides or what, just one. Alright? However, we do not need a double line on this side. Therefore, we're going to simply move that one over to this side to have a line there. Also, we are going to go and copy paste it, and again move 7 squares to the right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives us this small border on this side, which looks really off, if you ask me. So if you wanted to, you could totally put an empty row square between all the days and all the rows and have individual squares that do not cling to each other this way, if you wanted to. You don't have to, though. Anyways, we only need to do this line with copying and pasting. This line ends at, let's see, zoom in, 11.2, as far as I can see, 11.2. So now, this is so fabulous. Alright, again, mark these up, right click, positioning and size, and now we change the 840 to a 1220, an 1120, sorry, 1120. Nothing more, we're not changing anything else. It kind of ruined our positioning, didn't it? Alright, strong C. So, that's not how we do it, apparently. Well, apparently too much. So let's do it simply with this. Positioning and sizing. Let's try this again with the 1120. See if this works now. Yes, this is how we do it. So I probably marked too many things that it influenced it in a weird way that I didn't want it to. So strong Z, and everything goes back to the way it was before you changed anything. Or simply use the undo button up here. Oops. Alright. There you go. Again, take this up here, copy, paste, and move it to the side for your Sunday. So things you could do with this. You could put in the week numbers. However, I would not do that on this page though. Or when I see we might need a line down here because this looks really weird. Alright, let me copy and paste that one for now. And put it onto here because it really looked weird just now. Alright, you could, as I said, later on put other information that you want to have that would otherwise be in the way here, downwards here. If you wanted to, you could also make the columns smaller, that you have more space here, or make them wider in general. But as you can see, you have only 3 rows. That means if you make them 8 rows instead, 8 squares instead of 7, you have the last day with one less row on this one, and you do not wish to want, you might not want that. If it doesn't bother you, go ahead. However, how I would solve it is I would simply add another row on this side and make it 4 so that I could add one row of squares to each of these bigger squares for the monthly overview, you know, and maybe add another row down here. So that's how I would do it. For now, I will leave it because this is just an example. But if you come across something like that, don't be bothered by it much. It doesn't take much to actually redo that one row. It's really not much effort. You have the groundwork for everything already laid out with the work you did previously. Alright, so we have that. We have our monthly overview for now. And this is how you could go on with your weekly overviews, if you have monthly review pages, if you have quarterly pages. This is how you could do it. You make them here in your master files, and then you go out of it, close that, and simply add a new page in your normal pages. So we are out of the master area, we are in the normal pages now. So we have the index, we only need one index, or maybe let's say we need 2 pages. So we add a new page. We have 2 pages of index. We are on page 3 now. So page 3, also if you have something written on top of it, you can also still change that. You go right click onto the page and then change slide master. That gives you this view where you have all your master pages that you have created. And then you can choose this empty one with the back grid and it will change it. And everything that you put on top of it will stay the same. So it will not change. The same we can do with the second page. Change slide master, go to the second one, and there you have it. Again, change slide master. However, this is our first monthly overview. This is the left side of our monthly overview. Therefore, we choose the left side. Alright, click and enter. There you have it. Now, nothing you do will change. If you change something up here on the master, it will change. If you change the size of the squares, it will change on every single page that you use this master slide on. Alright? You could also put down the numbers for a habit tracker down here. I, again, would choose to simply make 31 numbers onto a master file because repositioning it is terrible. You can't just make one text box and then write the numbers downwards. It truly does not work that way. It looks terrible. Just so you know, so you have 31 text boxes that you're sizing and repositioning to make it look good. I sadly have not found a good way how to do that yet. Therefore, it's kind of like a extremely tedious. So tedious that I do not even wish to show it to you in full scale. However, I shall show you in a small scale. Anyway, so for your monthly overview, you might not want to write the days. If you're not really doing an undated planner, you can already date your pages. So you have your text bookmarks, and I actually like it in the bottom because I like to write whatever up here, others like to write it into the top corner. Therefore, I will do it in the top left corner. Make a field, write a 1, make it to a size that you want. I usually take a 6 to make it really, really small. So it actually fits into the space of the square. There you have it. So once you have that, you copy and paste it. Don't bother with making a new text box. Just copy and paste the whole thing. Honestly, copy and paste is your best friend next to the master files or pages, however you want to call them. copy, paste, and this will be number 3. However, make sure you don't go with the 4 down here because the 4 would be on the next page. Like, enter a new page. It will give you automatically the last master page that you use for the next new page. Therefore, right-click onto the new page, change slide master, and choose the second page of the master master for the monthly overview, like this one. And there you would, again, strong V in this case, because you're on a new page. And then you can change this one to a 4 and continue on with copies, paste. This would be the 5. Anyway, so this is how you could do it. And maybe, just maybe, you want to have the weekdays or the weeks numbers too. You can write them either right next to it up top on here, or you say, okay, this one I want to have in the lowest part or in the middle. So this would be week 1. There you go. You have your week number, but this looks very weird. To be honest, I would totally do that down here for your week numbers. You could also write something up here to indicate that this is your week number. You know, you could also use some sort of symbols that signify maybe when the full moon is. Maybe you could do let's say, copy. Let's say in the 3rd week, always somewhat in the middle, you have a number like, which day would that be? Like 7, 14, like maybe 17. Also, when you have multiple numbers, you have to widen it a little bit and move it a little bit more into the middle, that the number is in the middle. Otherwise, it looks completely wonky. That's what I said. It's wonky if you don't use single text fields for each number. So you could use icons like these. Not sure if they have a moon though. So, they have a brain, but they don't have a moon. What the hell? Why don't they have a moon? Okay. Anyways, let's use a circle to indicate the 17th is a full moon, like so. We use that as an indicator for full moon. You can choose to make it a different color. Not sure which color you would want. I'm staying in the gray area here, so let's use that one. 17, so you could use this as some sort of signifier for it if you wanted to. You do not have to, but only so that you can actually use this space for something and it is not off. If you don't decide to simply add a row and make sure that each of these are, instead of 7 empty spaces, are 8 empty spaces, and therefore you have a bigger space here. So you could also write this. Move this like, I think this would be the 17th. I have no idea. This is just me guessing. Don't have any calendar ready, and this is fictional anyway, so this is the 17th. You know, you could do it like this. And the week itself, you could also put like here. However, I always find this annoying when it's like here, like outside, because you will want to write notes down this one, and it basically interferes with it. So I wouldn't want this there. So I really would make sure that if you choose to make it or put it in, make it at the corner of out here, the way I had it before, at the end of the week, not at the beginning, or at least not where you want to write your notes. Maybe you want the whole calendar, like the first 4 days onto the first page, like on the left side, and the notes section on the right side. You can completely reverse it. Then actually I would put the numbers onto the left side like this, but I would make sure that this is kind of like here and nowhere else, you know, something like that. So I would do it. And once you have these numbers, maybe you have a timeline, once you have them straight and exactly how you want it, make sure again to log everything in, mark it up, right click, and then group the whole thing together. Because if you stop moving around this thing, it will move all the numbers. If you move accidentally one number, it's it will ruin your whole work that you just did. So just trust me on this one. You want this grouped together, these numbers, especially with the mini calendars, which is a whole nother topic because they annoy me to no end. In the weekly overviews, I do not need a monthly calendar in the weekly overviews because if I need a monthly overview, I will go to the monthly page. So don't give me that. A while ago, I saw a planner that had on a weekly view 5 monthly mini calendars, and I have no idea why. I mean, it gave you the current one, the past two one, and the next 2 months. So really, you had 5 months of mini calendars on each of these layouts where I was like, just give me the space to write whatever I want, and not fill every space. You know, a page is okay if there's empty space. You don't have to fill the whole space. And that was a really weird calendar, I'm telling you. A planner was a really weird one. Alright, it's another topic. If you have a planner or calendar that doesn't have monthly overviews, then having these monthly mini calendars maybe within the week would be okay to have some sort of overview, but you don't really have an overview with the mini calendar itself because you would still have to go to the week to see what other appointments you have during that week and if it works out because you can't really overview what else you have written in the month. So I'm really not sure what purpose they've got or have these mini calendars. I really don't. To me, they have no purpose at all but taking up space. That's my biggest peeve with the current calendars or planner situation going on in the community. Mini calendars everywhere. I do not need them. Just give me the space that I can write actually something to, you know. Alright, that, my friends, and if you have stayed until now, give this a like and subscribe. Hope to see you soon. I hope it was manageable and readable. I will see you later on, I guess. I hope you had fun and learned something new. And also, have fun making your own planner. I might do more like, because I've been streaming for a while now already, so um, I wouldn't want to drag this out any further. But I can do more like showing you how to do a weekly or something like that, but it's kind of the same principle as with a monthly itself. Doing mini calendars and maybe doing some sort of a quarterly overview or something like that. That would be shorter videos as I already have laid the groundwork with this one. Therefore, I wish you all a good start into the new year. Hope to see you soon again next year. Tomorrow I'm out and about. Therefore, there will be no video from me. Maybe after that. Also, I hope you have fun and had a good holidays. And I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe. Bye.